Tenet. What is up, everybody? I'm hoping you're all well. It's time to review the new Christopher Nolan movie. I am so happy I got to see this movie on the big screen. Tenet. So Tenet is the latest movie to be directed by Christopher Nolan, who brings his filmmaking genius to the screen once again. It basically follows John David Washington, I'm pretty sure that's his name, as the protagonist, who basically has to go on a mission with only one word to guide him, that being Tenet. And I'm not going to say anything more than that other than it's a spy espionage type thriller directed by Christopher Nolan, who introduces the element of time bending into the film. That time bending element basically being inversion, things being done in reverse. And much like Inception, the concept of inversion is very easy to follow throughout the runtime of the film, but there are aspects of the film where they use it that you might miss on your first viewing, so you may need to go back and watch it a second time just to piece together these few little bits here and there. But overall, I found this movie very easy to follow, and as always, Christopher Nolan is incredible behind the camera. Like, he is still one of the most ambitious and daring filmmakers working in the industry today. His love for practical effects just create for some jaw-dropping and genuinely astounding set pieces. I mean, he literally had a giant-ass plane crash into a building done practically. Like, that shit is amazing. He had scenes where shit was happening in real time while shit around it was also happening in reverse, so major props to the stunt department and the choreography team who had to make sure the timing was just on point for those particular moments. There's so much hard work and dedication thrown into his films that you can't ever say they look bad. I mean, the cinematography is as gorgeous as always. Honestly, the movie just looks incredible, and it is an incredibly thrilling and intriguing story throughout the entire runtime. Sure, the first half of the movie is purely set up, and that can drag a little bit here and there, but it all pays off towards the end for a very exciting climax. And much like his other movies, the spectacle of this concept and the stunning action sequences that follow it are some of the main reasons that you go to any sort of Christopher Nolan film like this, where he can bend time and confuse you and just make you think for a while, but then also make you come back for another viewing to pick up on bits that you missed. Granted, like I said, this movie is easier to follow than some of his past movies like Inception, but again, the concept is not what is difficult to understand. It's certain bits that you miss here and there that you then have to go back on a second viewing to go, alright, so that ties into that and that ties into that. And much like his other movies, there's not much in terms of character depth in his films. Like, he doesn't really flesh out his characters all that much. For example, the main character played by John David Washington, who gets a fantastic performance by the way, he plays the protagonist. That is his name in the movie, the protagonist. You don't need to learn anything more about him. He's here in the film to serve a purpose, and he serves that purpose in that film. Much like the other characters in this movie, they're all here to serve a purpose, so you don't really need to know that much more about them. And while I personally like to be able to latch on to characters, so if they're in danger, I can worry about them, I can be scared that they might not make it through this, for some reason Christopher Nolan doesn't do that, and in a way, it works for the movies that they're in. You do get characters that you can flesh out. For example, the main character in this movie that you do flesh out is played by Elizabeth Debicki. I literally just had to look that up on my phone because I completely forgot her name. She's the main emotional attachment that you can really latch onto in this movie. Her relationship with her son and her family, that's the main driving focus towards the emotional attachment that you can get in this film. Other than that, the rest of his characters are pretty nameless and you don't learn all that much about them. That being said, every single performance in this movie is fantastic. Robert Pattinson is great in this film. His chemistry with John David Washington was fantastic. I really bought into their relationship, their friendship. Elizabeth Debicki I also really enjoyed in this film. We also have Kenneth Branagh as the villain, and while he is hamming it up a little bit here and there, and he didn't come off as intimidating I may have liked him to be, he does have a lot of fun in his performance. I did really like him in this movie. I liked him in the role that he was in, and his motivations, while very hammy for villain sort of motivations, were very clear. Unlike Nolan's other films though, this is one of the first ones where Hans Zimmer doesn't actually compose the score for him. He's instead replaced by Ludwig Göransson. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right there. It's the same guy who did the music for Black Panther, and while the score is absolutely phenomenal in this movie, I will say that it does feel a little bit like he's trying to imitate Hans Zimmer's scores from the past movies that Christopher Nolan's done. I don't know if that was his choice personally, or if Christopher Nolan likes his scores to be done a specific way, so he asked Ludwig to do it in the sort of way that his past movies have been. I don't know. And I've noticed as well that Christopher Nolan's movies, for some reason now, after like The Dark Knight Rises or something like that, there's been from a point there was a movie where music and sound effects just overtook some character dialogue and you missed a few things that was said. And I don't know if that's just me, I don't know if that's the screening I was in, but I've started noticing a bit more of his films, especially in Interstellar, where the music was very and just, you know, loud and deafening a lot of the time and could actually give you a heart attack nearly when it just suddenly came on. But in that, I feel like you might be missing important bits of information, which is another reason why I may want to go back and watch the film again to try and catch what the character was saying. And while it's not Nolan's best movie, that does not mean it's a bad movie by any means. I mean, the set pieces and action sequences are just jaw-dropping. The practical effects are just astonishing. Again, I have to commend Nolan for using practical effects and very little digital effects where he can. Like, if he can use practical, he will do it practically, but if he has to sacrifice a little bit of digital trickery here and there, he will do that. But for the most part, seeing all this stuff actually happen, like for example, a building that explodes and then builds back up just to explode again, like that shit was just jaw-dropping to see on screen. If you are a fan of Nolan's other films, I do highly recommend checking this movie out. It's a very intense action thriller, and yeah, sure, while it's not his best movie, it is still a fantastically fun ride, especially if you can get your head around the inversion aspect, which, like I've said, is a very easy concept to follow. It definitely requires a few rewatches here and there with a possible few things that I may have missed. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe when I rewatch it again, I may notice things that I missed before that maybe take away from the movie, or it may add to the movie more. I don't know. But overall, from my first viewing, I absolutely loved this film. I do highly recommend you guys check it out. And so for all those reasons, I'm going to give Tenet 4 stars. So, Tenet, have you guys seen it all? What are your thoughts about it? What is your favourite Christopher Nolan movie? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for those watching, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, and for some more videos just like this one, and subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks again for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you all in the next video.